Hey brothers and sisters, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lisa and I'm founder of Anna Ministry. I cover true crime cases from a Christian perspective. So if you would like to see more videos like these, then you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, like now. Today, I will be doing something that I've never done before, and that is to discuss a true crime case that is currently active as we speak. We will be discussing how being in a toxic relationship does not only affect your mental state, your sanity, and your health, but can literally kill you. Proverbs 4, verse 14 to 15 reads, "Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away." Firstly, I want to give my condolences to the Petito family for the loss of their daughter. I cannot imagine the pain that they are in, especially knowing she was so young. As you know, I will be covering the Gabrielle Petito case, which involves her fiance, Brian Laundrie. This disappearance of a 22-year-old woman sparked national interest. Videos of her went viral, and every mainstream media has been covering this active case since her disappearance. However, though, on Tuesday, September 21st, her body was discovered. Now, her death has been ruled a homicide. Her fiancé, Brian Laundrie, has fallen off the face of this earth as I am recording this video on September 25th. The U.S. District Court of Wyoming has issued a warrant arrest for Brian Christopher Laundrie. If anyone has any information or any insight into Brian's whereabouts, please contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. He's 5'8", about 160 pounds, brown eyes, short hair, and trimmed facial hair. He was last seen wearing a hiking bag. Now, since this case is so fresh, I will be pinning a comment to this video as new information rolls in. So with that said, let's get started with today's case. Gabrielle Petito was born on March 19, 1999 at Long Island, New York to both parents, Nicole Schmidt and Joseph Petito. Her parents eventually split, and her father and her stepmom, Tara, ended up having 2 children together. And Gabby's mom, Nicole, and her stepdad, Jim Schmidt, have 1 son together. So it was one big happy blended family. Growing up, Gabby was super sweet and caring. She was talented and had an adventurous spirit. Gabby met Brian in high school. However, they just had a friendship. Shortly after high school, their friendship developed into a romantic one, and they had their first official date at the beach. He was an environmentalist, and as soon as they began dating, they started traveling. They went on cross-country road trips from the East Coast to California. They did weekend adventures, and on their next road trip, they decided to get into van life. They purchased the vehicle and planned to go on road trips living out of this van. They started a YouTube channel called Nomadic Static and was only able to post 1 video, which as you can see here, it went viral and has 5 million views, as this depicts their journey to their travel destinations. On July of 2020, after a year of dating, Brian proposed to Gabby and she said yes. She wrote on her Instagram caption, "You make life feel unreal, and every day is such a dream with you." Their family celebrated this milestone. Brian's parents, Christopher and Roberta Laundrie, allowed for Gabby and Brian to live with them in Northport, Florida. So the couple started getting their van ready for this road trip, and due to how crazy things got in 2020, they postponed the trip to 2021. Gabby was working as a nutritionist. However, she decided to quit her job and start a vlog to become a vlogger. She used her social media to show her travels, to which at the time, she had about 100,000 followers. So she wasn't doing bad for herself when it came to making a name for herself on social media. Gabby and Brian were also working on their website called nomadicstatic.com. The couple planned to take a 4-month trip where they would visit a bunch of national parks in Colorado, Utah, and Wyoming. And on July 2nd, that trip began. Here's the timeline of the events. On July 4th, Gabby posted a picture at the Monument Rocks in Kansas. On the 8th, they were in Colorado Springs. And on the 11th, Gabby mentioned on her post that this would be their last day in Colorado and that they would be heading to Utah next. Now, when you look at all of these pictures and videos of Gabby, she looks so happy. The thing about social media is that smiling in pictures and happy videos do not tell the full truth. On August 19th, Gabby posted her first and only vlog on YouTube. A few days later, August 21st, Gabby's dad sent them an Uber Eats order while they were in Salt Lake City. Gabby then had a FaceTime with her mom and let her know that they were leaving Utah. Now, August 25th would be the last and final time that Gabby would post on social media. And on the 27th, Gabby's mom received a text from Gabby that read, "Can you help Stan? I just keep getting his voicemails and missed calls." Now, every parent knows their child's vocabulary. If my son ever texted me and referred to my dad, which is his grandfather, by his name, I would know that's not my son. He's grandpa. And Nicole, Gabby's mom, she recognized immediately that this wasn't Gabby, because Gabby never referred to her grandfather as Stan. On August 30th, Gabby's mom received another text that read, "No service in Yosemite." Now, I want to point out something odd, and that is that Gabby would always tag which location she was in up until August 19th. After her mom received that last and final text on August 30th, Gabby went completely off the radar. None of her friends had any contact with her, and neither did her parents. Now, on that Friday of September 10th, Nicole, Gabby's mom, was calling Gabby, calling Brian, and no one's answering, so she decided to go to the police, and she voiced her concerns. But the police didn't really seem to take her seriously, and they didn't seem too concerned. The next day, September 11th, Nicole went and filed a missing persons report. Now, here is where things get shady. Brian had arrived back to Florida on September 1st with Gabby's van, but no Gabby. That means that he was at home for 10 days and did not mention anything to Gabby's family about her whereabouts. And every call that kept coming in, he just ignored it. Her mom ended up filing a missing persons police report 10 days after Brian was already in Florida. Northport police tried to interview Brian, but his parents wouldn't let them. By the time the police did interview him, he lawyered up. The police recovered the van and started processing it for evidence. The Laundrie family refused to cooperate with the investigation or to even speak to Gabby's family. The only one from the Laundrie family that was willing to speak to the media and the police was Brian's sister, Cassie Laundrie.
Obviously, me and my family want Gabby to be found safe. She's like a sister, and my children love her. And all I want is for her to come home safe and sound, and this to be just a big misunderstanding.
Psalm 10 verse 7 reads, "His mouth is full of lies and threats. Trouble and evil are under his tongue." It's no surprise that Brian lawyered up. It is disturbingly suspicious that a man comes back from a trip without his girlfriend and doesn't even alert her family that she's missing. A wicked person exhibits profanity, lies, and abuse. Whenever a wicked person moves their tongue, it is nothing but wickedness and lies. Evil tastes sweet in the mouth of the wicked. This is why we have to take our lives seriously. When we determine that someone is wicked, we need to flee from them immediately, like our lives depend on it. Because in some cases, it does, as was in this case with Gabby. Gabby's family wrote an open letter to the Laundrie family, begging them to please speak up, say something, help them with this. At the time, Gabby was missing and no one was speaking. I mean, from one parent to another, they felt that the Laundrie family should understand their pain.
Christopher and Rebecca Laundrie, we are writing this letter to ask you to help find our daughter. We understand you are going through a difficult time and your instinct is strong to protect your son. We ask you to put yourselves in our shoes. We haven't been able to sleep or eat, and our lives are falling apart. We believe you know the location of where Brian left Gabby. We beg you to tell us. As a parent, how could you let us go through this pain and not help us?
The police and the public has been keeping a close watch at the Laundrie's home. Now, on September 15th, the police released a body cam footage that was originally recorded on August 12th. And on this day, it was a bystander that had seen Brian grab Gabby's face and push her. He called 911 to report a domestic violence situation. Here's the 911 call.
Hi, I'm calling. I'm right on the corner of Main Street by Moonflower, and we're driving by, and I'd like to report a domestic dispute. We drove by, and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, hopped in the car, and they drove off.
All right, I will let somebody know. Thank you.
By the time the cops arrived, Gabby and Brian were already gone. A responding officer had spotted the vehicle and pulled them to the side.
Been fighting this morning. Some personal issues.
It was a long day. We were camping yesterday, and camping got flies and stuff. I'm sorry I hit the bump there.
I was distracting him from driving. I'm sorry.
Can I get you to step out of the vehicle for me, man?
Yeah.
Just hang tight right there. Do you mind if I take your keys and just put them on your hood?
You got it, buddy. I'm so
Thank
sorry.
you. Oh, no, you're fine. I'm going to go ahead and close your door, okay? Why don't you come over here? SO229, I have the female that was on the passenger seat separated from the male. Keys are on the hood. You want to tell me what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just some days I have really bad OCD, and
Okay.
I was just cleaning and straightening up the back of the van before, and I was apologizing to him and saying, I'm sorry that I'm so mean, because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I just get really frustrated. Not like mean towards him. I just like, I guess my vibe is like I am really like in a bad mood. And I was just saying, I'm sorry if I'm in a bad mood. I've just been really stressed. I had so much work I was doing on my computer this morning.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I used to work at an organic juice bar, but I just quit my job.
Okay.
I was a nutritionist. That was my
That's
job.
cool.
And I just quit my job to travel across the country. And I'm trying to start a blog. I just have a blog and stuff. So I've been building my website. So I've just been really stressed, and he doesn't really believe that I could do any of it. So that's kind of been like a, I don't know, he's like a downer. I don't know, we've just been fighting all morning, and he wouldn't let me in the car before. And then
Why wouldn't he let you in the car? Because
he told
of
me
your OCD?
He told me I needed to calm down. Yeah. But I'm perfectly calm. I'm calm all the time, and he really stresses me out, and this is a rough morning.
Now, if you can notice that this entire conversation, Gabby is crying the entire time. I understand that couples argue, but I want you to see that there is something different about this clip. Notice how she is taking the blame for her fiance's behavior. She's blaming it on her OCD. She's saying that she was being mean. She is completely absolving him from any accountability. This, my friends, is what you call gaslighting. The term gaslighting is to manipulate someone into questioning their own sanity. It is the twisting of your words to make you question and second guess yourself. Narcissists are notorious for being gaslighters. One of the signs that you're being gaslit is if the person that you're with is telling you that you're being too sensitive or that you have no right to feel that way. What they're basically saying is that your feelings are not valid, as if they're the judge and jury of your emotional state. Do not let someone invalidate your feelings. If someone hurts you or something bothers you, speak up. Let it be known. And if they don't respect it, or even worse, they try to twist it back on you to invalidate your feelings, leave immediately. Gaslighters are abusers. They manipulate you psychologically and they cause you insanity. They will make you question your reality. And one of my sisters in Christ who has a YouTube channel, you guys should check her out. It's called Narc Free Living. She said it best. Dealing with a narcissist will have you walking around schizophrenic. I mean, how true is that? They'll have you walking around crazy, acting crazy, thinking that you're losing your mind, but really it's the mind games that they play. Now, in this body cam footage, the police pulls Brian aside. Notice how he starts to act like he's the victim.
I didn't get overtly physical. I was just trying to keep her away and not get hit. And then I got really loud, and like that's probably drew everyone's attention where I was going, back up, get away, just give me a...
Okay, so you said you pushed her to create some distance, obviously, right? What happened after that? What got the scratches on your eye?
The phone.
The phone? So you pushed her and she hit you?
It wasn't like a push and she jumped on me. She was already I don't want to. He's swinging, and I was yeah. A lot of angles, a lot of nails, a lot of rings.
Yeah. You got 3 scratches in your neck. You got 1 on your left side of your nose. You got 1 in your face here, and you got 4 bleeding over there.
So I just tried.
So it looks like 2 hands coming in. Do you mind lifting up your right sleeve for me? I'm curious about something.
Oh. A little bit of nails. I suppose fingernails, but I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining about fingernails.
Is it bruised or tender or anything like
No,
that?
no. Okay. I'm fine, and I love Gabby. I hope she doesn't have too many complaints about me. I'm just, I feel bad I had to get so public. I was just trying to be loud. So this is,
Brian stated that he didn't want to press charges on Gabby. The police ended up discussing this amongst themselves, and they believed that Gabby was the aggressor and that Brian was just defending himself from, little old Gabby.
I saw him hit her. I saw him shove her, but I couldn't tell if it was an aggression against her or a defense against her, as far as her, being the aggressor. So at this point, unless the guy's screaming that he needs to go to jail and did something to this girl, it sounds to me like she is the primary aggressor.
Yeah.
Now the problem with her being the primary aggressor is in an instance of domestic assault, be it a male or be it a female, we shall arrest. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they have to go to jail. We can do a citation if it meets one of 3 criterion, which one of them is that we can ensure that they're not going to further risk each other's safety. But the problem with that is they live in the same vehicle.
That's what I was going to say. The other part of it is
there was actually an injury too to the victim, which is him.
Right, and I'm getting conflicting stories about why they hit the curb up here.
The police basically gave them the ultimatum that they would need to separate for the night. Brian would stay at a hotel and Gabby would stay in the van. The next day, Brian would have to go to the police to waive the no contact order, and Gabby would attend an online court date. Now, the outrage regarding this body cam footage is how often that they refer to Gabby as the aggressor and Brian as the victim.
I looked at it with an FBI agent friend of mine, and I was terrified when I first saw it, when it didn't come out that the wonderful people who made the call said that he was slapping her. And so the 2 deputy sheriffs say that he was the victim. And we looked at it, this FBI friend of mine and I looked at it, and I said, this girl's terrorized. This is classic domestic abuse. He's terrorized her not to tell the cops that he was the aggressor. He was the slapper and the puncher.
Very, very important question. How you answer this question is going to determine what happens next. But the only person who can answer this question is you. Think very hard before you answer the question. Do not quickly answer it. Think very hard. When you slapped him those times, were you attempting to cause him physical pain or physical impairment? Was that what you were attempting to do to him? No. What were you attempting to do? What was the reason behind the slapping and stuff?
I was trying to get him to stop telling me something.
Well, it doesn't sound to me like she attempted to injure him. It's your call. This is 100% your call. I support you either way.
I'll let you get back to your parents, okay?
Okay.
On September 14th, Gabby's stepdad went out to Wyoming to help search for Gabby at the national park. Meanwhile, Brian and his family, they did nothing. The search for Gabby went on for days. And mind you, they had no idea which zone or area to focus on since Brian wasn't speaking. So they were searching in Florida, Utah, Colorado. However, this search for Gabby came to an end on September 19th when a body was found in Wyoming.
This is an incredibly difficult time for the family and friends. Our thoughts and prayers are with them. We ask that you all respect the privacy as they mourn the loss of their daughter. As you are aware, FBI personnel, in coordination with our partners at National Park Service, the Forest Service, Teton County Sheriff's Office, and Jackson Police Department, have been conducting an investigative activity in the vicinity of the Spread Creek dispersed camping area. Earlier today, human remains were discovered, consistent with the description of Gabby Petito. Full forensic identification has not been completed to confirm 100% that we found Gabby, but her family has been notified of this discovery. The cause of death has not been determined at this time. We appreciate your continued support and patience as we work through this process.
On the 17th, Brian's parents contacted the FBI to let them know that Brian had left that previous Tuesday but had not returned, and that they had no idea where he went.
We begin this morning with a local story gripping the nation, a new twist in the disappearance of Sarasota County's Gabby Petito. Her fiance, Brian Laundrie, the man with whom she was last seen on a cross-country trip 3 weeks ago, is now missing himself. Police named Laundrie a person of interest in Gabby's disappearance earlier this week. Now he's gone, and his family and their attorney say they don't know where he is either.
The body that was found in a U.S. national park in Wyoming was identified as Gabby Petito, and her death was ruled as a homicide.
Autopsy results are confirming the remains found in Wyoming over the weekend belong to Gabby Petito.
Now, Brian is a skilled hiker, and Gabby's best friend, Rose, had mentioned that Brian had once lived in the Appalachian Mountains for months. So if anybody could survive in the wilderness, Brian's your guy. A couple on TikTok had actually picked up Brian Laundrie while he was hitchhiking. They did not know that he was part of a crime case, so they went ahead and they gave him a ride.
Hi, my name is Miranda Baker, and on August 29th, my boyfriend and I picked up Brian at Grand Teton National Park at 5:30 at night at Coulter Bay. He approached us asking us for a ride because he needed to go to Jackson, which we were going to Jackson that night. So I said, hop in. He hopped in the back of my Jeep. He then told us he's been camping for multiple days without his fiance. He did say he had a fiance, and that she was working on their social media page back at their van. In conversation, I brought up, we're going to Jackson. He freaked out. He's like, nope, I need to get out right now. Pull over. So we pulled over at the Jackson Dam. When he asked to ride, he has to go to Jackson, which if you're familiar with the area, a lot of people call Jackson Hole Jackson. So that's why I said yes to giving him a ride. But you think any good hiker would know south and north. We were going south out of the park when he said he was camping north. He had told us that him and Gabby were not camping on a regulated campsite through the national park, that they were camping basically out in the middle of nowhere along Snake River. This is key information. He said that he had hiked for days along Snake River, but when looking at his backpack, it wasn't full. And he said all he had was a tarp to sleep on, which you think if you're going camping for days on end, you'd want food and a tent, and he had none of that. And like I said, he looked clean and didn't smell bad. So this is a view of the whole journey with Brian. So that's the top at the park at Coulter Bay, and then we drove him to this dam right here. Then at the dam, we dropped him off at this little turnout, and he said he was going to walk across the street to the parking lot, which was full of people, to continue hitchhiking.
On Monday the 20th, the Laundrie home was raided by 25 FBI agents. They had a warrant to seize their computers, all their electronic devices, clothing, pretty much a ton of evidence. And as of now, Brian Laundrie is still missing, as no one knows where he is. Psalm 37, verse 12 to 13 reads, "The wicked plots against the just, and gnashes at him with his teeth. The Lord laughs at him, for he sees that his day is coming." So you're probably thinking, he does what? The Lord laughs at the wicked? Yes and no, but let me explain. People who are choosing to live in opposition to God's requirements will one day find themselves in hell. God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. Jesus Christ was sent to die a torturous, brutal death for you. God will send people to witness to you, to reach you, to warn you, to let go of those sins. But many people laugh at his goodness and salvation. Many, like in the case of Brian Laundrie, believe that they can get away with anything and not suffer the consequences. So even if Brian Laundrie never gets caught in this lifetime, Scripture says God laughs at that man, for the Lord knows that his day is coming. God always gets the last laugh. Now, prior to him taking off, he did post some cryptic messages on Pinterest before Gabby's death was ruled as a homicide. This post read, The opposite of lost, don't try to find me. I have finally escaped my master's wicked clutches. To others I say, join me, bite the hand that feeds you. Vive la liberté. He also posted this very cryptic photo of a tombstone, and it has "my baby" inscribed on it. Another post shows a skull and a hand with a match, with a text that reads, you do it yourself and that's what really hurts. Another one names Nyctophilia, a love of darkness of night, finding relaxation or comfort in the darkness. Now on his Instagram, he has posted some bizarre drawings. This was actually from 2020, but take a look at what he drew. This image here, posted on July of 2020, shows a wolf in sheep's clothing. Notice the jacket has the word sheep on it. There's also a bloody knife cutting the strings off the phone. Now, the Bible makes tons of references to wolves in sheep's clothing. Another image posted around the same time in 2020 is a drawing from the movie Fight Club. And the caption reads, only after disaster can we be resurrected. It's only after you've lost everything that you're free to do anything. Nothing is static. Everything is evolving. Everything is falling apart. And you guys, take a look at this post with the caption as Grim Reaper leading sheep to the slaughter and a mousetrap. It is said that art imitates life. And these drawings show us a little hint to Brian's dark side. He seemed to be at war with himself, and I'm sure that a psychiatrist can interpret his personality based on these drawings. Matthew 15, verse 19 to 20 reads, for out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murders, adulterers, fornications, thefts, false witness, blasphemies. These are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashen hands defileth not. Let me give you a little context behind this verse. The Pharisees came to Jesus and asked him, why is it that Jesus and his disciples do not wash their hands before they eat? As if a person can be defiled by eating unclean food. But in Matthew 10, Jesus says, listen and understand. What goes into someone's mouth does not defile them. It is what comes out of their mouth. That is what defiles them. Sin and corruption comes from what's inside a person, as it expresses itself on the outside. Jesus explains that accidentally eating a speck of unclean food will not defile you. People are defiled by their own sinfulness, which they express in how they speak. Social media is a platform that we use as a form of self-expression. What we post about shows what we are thinking, speaking, and what we have in our hearts. You may not think that social media is anything serious, but countless of criminals have posted subliminal messages that showed a hint to their darker side prior to committing their crime. Now, it was also reported that Brian was controlling during their relationship. Gabby's friend Rose stated that Brian would hear voices and had trouble sleeping. She also stated that on one event, they were supposed to go out. However, Gabby realized that her ID was missing. So it turns out that Brian had hid her ID so she couldn't go out without him. Rose stated that she was her only friend in Florida, and it's not because Gabby couldn't make friends, but because he wouldn't let her have any. He was always worried that one day she would leave him. Relationships that are characterized by gaslighting, domination, aggression, all have a gruesome, agonizing, and regrettable outcome. When you start to notice these signs in your partner, it is time to jump ship. You must break away from a toxic relationship as soon as you see the signs. Gabby has officially been laid to rest, and my sincerest and deepest condolences go out to the Petito family. As of today, Brian is still missing, therefore has not been arrested. I will post a comment that I will pin down to this video as new information comes in. That's it for today. Please leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Could the police have potentially stopped this from happening had they arrested Brian at the time? Do you believe that Brian will ever be found? Let me know below. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, God bless you.